Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today is another Skyrim mods video, but I do want to point out the fact that I put game changing in the title does not mean that these are going to completely revolutionize Skyrim, but each and every one of these mods will change the way that you will play Skyrim or at least approach combat in some type of way. So with that being said, all mods, if you find a mod that you want to like, will be down in the description under the timestamp, and let's dive right in, and don't forget to endorse mod authors. The first mod up, bringing us to Whiterun for a pretty iconic quest mod that no one really knows what to do with. This quest mod is called Saadia Time of Need, expanding on the vanilla quest where you either pick between Saadia or the mercenaries hunting her. Quick disclaimer, this is the type of mod that you install on a new game, not in the middle of a playthrough, but this mod basically makes it so that you actually have a good reason for siding with Saadia. In the vanilla quest line, Saadia tells you that they are hired by Aldemari, and there's no real proof that they actually are. You have to go by your own opinion, and most people just generally believe that Saadia is lying, but this quest mod gives you actual proof and a reason to side with Saadia so that you can pick to either save her or still sell her out. The quest will play out as in vanilla Skyrim, so there will be pretty much no massive changes. You will still have to fight through a horde of bandits if you prefer to confront the mercenaries. The differences that this quest mod implements really start to show up towards the end of it. After you kill Kamatu or you decide to side with him, after he is dead, you will find a letter on his inventory that will tell you that he actually is a double agent for the Aldemari. So now you have a valid reason for actually siding with Saadia, but this quest mod goes even further and allows you to turn Saadia into a follower and also potential lover. This mod does have a fade to black scene, or if you have Ostem, it takes advantage of that, so it can get pretty R-rated, but for the most part it just expands on vanilla Skyrim. Just like this next mod, making combat a little bit harder for you. But not just combat in general, but just making this boss fight a lot harder. This mod is called Cult of the True Dragonborn. With this mod installed, Miraak will have a bunch of buffs applied to his character as soon as you start the game. And the buffs are tied to the dragon priests that are scattered around Solstheim, so it finally gives you a reason to actually explore and kill them first before encountering Miraak. There is 3 locations that you can encounter the dragon priests, and each dragon priest has their own separate set of boosts, so if you kill one, all of the boosts won't go away, only the set applied boosts will decrease, and then you have to go on to the next one and kill all 3 until all boost is gone. But as you can see, the boosts aren't overpowered, but when you add all 3 boosts together, it can make Miraak a lot harder to beat inside of combat, but that makes it a lot funner for people that have a kind of overpowered character. So if you don't want to kill all the NPCs, then you can do that. There's another mod called Cult of the World Eater, which does the same for Alduin, but instead what this mod does new besides that mod is that this mod makes it so that if you go and find Velok the Jailer, which was known for in the lore for fighting Miraak and actually causing him to be greatly injured, if you kill Velok, you will actually buff Miraak even further. So if you really want the ultimate Dragonborn fight and want to make it harder on yourself, then you can keep all 3 dragon priests alive when you fight Miraak, but actually kill Velok the Jailer so that he gets even further boosted. But I will say, if you do that, you're probably going to be dying a lot, considering his stats will be higher than the Ebony Warriors at that point. Our next mod, just a quality of life mod, but this mod is called Equipment Toggle 2. Most people either use Helmet Toggle, which puts the helmet on the hips, but this one goes even further. It makes it so that helmets and weapons and even certain types of armors, depending on what the slot they are equipped to, will be hidden depending on where the NPC or your character currently is. So if you're walking into a safe zone, it will automatically be unequipped. It won't be put on your waist, so it will have no incompatibilities, but it will be hidden. And there's a hotkey. The default hotkey is down, and when you equip that, it'll make your character unequip your helmet and then put it back on depending on how many times you press it. It's so simple, but it has steadily become a must-have for me. But up next, a weirdly confidently amazing mod in my opinion, but this mod is called Loot Spillage NG. With this mod installed, instead of having to loot NPCs after you kill them, they will instead become completely naked after you kill them, dropping all their current gear on the ground, including weapons and items, and they will be colored differently depending on the item, like weapons will be red and armor will be purple, letting you easily identify what you want to pick up. The reason why I like this mod is if you have a grass mod that has high grass, it's kind of hard to find NPCs after you kill them, so this mod makes it a little bit easier by highlighting the equipment. Quick side note, this is another mod list that I was working on. I wanted to try community shaders, so here we are. But this next mod is called simply Realistic Armors and Weapons. In the base installation, it will only include the armors and not even for the Dragonborn armors, but it will include replacers for almost every vanilla armor inside of Skyrim. And I say almost because I can't verify that it covers every single one of them, but the ones that I did try, even though I've been using this for months, there has been nothing left alone. And unlike other armor mods that you can get from Norwar, like realistic armors, that one only covers certain basic like leather and iron, but this one completely covers everything inside of the base game, including guard armors and just regular bandit armors that you can see anyone wearing. And it does so without using an ESP or a slot at all. It's pretty much all meshes and textures. If you wanted a complete armor and texture replacer without having to download multiple different mods, then this is the mod that you want to download. It's about 1 GB because all the textures are optimized, so some things may seem a little bit stretched. But if you just want an all-in-one that's just simple to download, then you want to grab this. But if you want the weapons replaced also, then you have to go and grab the optional file, which includes the weapons. And also, if you didn't know, this is probably the only weapon and armor mod that replaces glass weapons. Every other time you have to grab something and make a patch for it, like I did with the buoyant armature. But it also goes further than that, and it also includes bows. Not every single bow is covered, just the main ones like ebony or dragonbone bow. Those have been replaced with this mod. And it's really surprising to me that no one really has noticed this mod too much. Everyone just prefers realistic armors or vanilla armor replacers, when this one is an all-in-one. But speaking of all-in-ones, we have ones that is for the NPCs. This mod is called Ordinary People Npc Overhaul. Most people know about the vanilla friendly overhauls, but this one uses Charmers of the Reach to add unique appearances to almost every named NPC inside of Skyrim. This mod doesn't cover every single one, because you'll probably need other mods like True Men in Skyrim to match these if you want to cover almost every named one. Besides ones that get added by mods, that's still something I'm struggling with. But if you want a realistic, or hyper realistic I might add, NPC overhaul, then this is the mod that you want to grab. Some people have asked me about this mod and wondered what NPC overhaul I'm using, and this is definitely that mod. And I will be the first to admit that not all the replacers featured in this mod will be your favorite. You can mix and match and choose which ones you want and don't want by simply adding another mod over top of this one. But fair warning, this does use Charmers of the Reach, which has pretty high texture, so it can hurt your FPS, unless you know how to downscale like me. But while we're on NPC replacers, I figured I'd mention one of my favorite mods. This mod is called Housecarls Pre-Thaneship. Pretty much this mod allows for you to meet housecarls around Skyrim inside of inns, but sometimes they rotate depending on the time schedule. They have a set time schedule and they rotate between it. You won't find them doing random things. But in my opinion, this is obviously a must-have mod because it never made sense that housecarls just kind of appeared out of thin air as soon as you became Thane. Like Lydia, you can literally see her character appear as soon as you become Thane. But now you can see them living their daily lives, getting drunk all day or sleeping before they become your personal slaves after you become Thane. Small downside though, you can't really interact with them once they're at it. Okay, so we all know about the most basic alternate start, where you start inside of a dead dungeon with a bunch of ghosts outside of it ready to kill you. But now it has gotten a massive overhaul, kind of focusing on the more fantasy side of it. This mod is called Alternate Start Reborn. As you can see, it just overhauls the sail area. It doesn't touch the outside area, making it compatible with a lot of mods. But it overhauls the statue, changing it from Mara to Azura. Still the same dialogue lines and the same way to start the quest, but it just adds a new touch to the place so that you don't just keep running into the same areas and getting bored of it. Because instead of this just being a jail cell that your character can't escape, now it's like a completely separate realm, so now you really can't escape from this unless you use console commands. And another part, instead of the bedbug infested bed, now you have an arcane circle and you just have to talk to Azura, and then once you pick your start, you interact with the circle and then you'll be started. This next mod though, focusing more on the vanilla side of Skyrim, at least if you have the anniversary. But this mod is called CC Tundra Homestead Tweaks and Enhancement. This mod basically makes it so that the homestead can finally be used by someone, because this is probably the home that no one uses. The first things that you'll notice is that it adds small clutter outside of it to make it look lived in, and that's because it kind of is. This place has been turned into the home of Nazim, so if you don't happen to use something like cutting room floor, just in case you're afraid of all the extra features that it adds, you can now use this for a place to have Nazim sleep besides just sleeping inside of an inn. And this mod is constantly being updated with bug fixes, but honestly I really didn't run into any issues. Besides the fact that I never really seen Nazim come to this place, he still prefers to stay inside of the city, and as his wife puts it, stay at the Jarl's backside. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I've run 1,000 scenarios in my head. This next mod is called Interesting Locations. This mod doesn't really overhaul places per se, it just adds new lived in aspects to them, like docks, or maybe dead aspects like dwarven ruins or really mammoth bones. Pretty much anything that would make the location look new to you and feel new. This mod kinda does focus around the Riverwood area, but it does expand to other locations like around Bleak Falls Barrel, but I guess that's kinda still Riverwood, I guess. But the best part that I would say about this mod is that even though it is completely new and it just came out, generally mods like this you have to wait for patches, but someone already went out their way to make a patch collection, and that's why I can showcase it here because I have way too many landscape mods to be adding something like this of this scale. So honestly, if you just want to add more clutter to your game, download this. But up next we have a mod completely changing the way that you approach combat like I mentioned in the intro. This mod is called Skybane, the Logic of Death. This mod, if you're familiar with Know Your Enemies, is basically like that but taking advantage of Skypatcher so that you don't have any ESPs besides the main one and no incompatibilities. This mod uses Skypatcher key framework to apply buffs and debuffs to certain animals, undead creatures, or really pretty much any NPC wearing armor so that they'll have a disadvantage and advantage to you so that you won't just be stuck using the same weapon no matter who you're fighting. Now you'll have to switch and fight differently depending on the enemy, making combat much more interesting. As of right now, there is no way to tell what buffs or debuffs the NPC has besides checking the mod page, so I would definitely recommend memorizing it. But honestly, the debuffs and buffs don't really make or break the game. You can honestly get around them if you're strong enough, but it definitely makes it a lot easier if you come prepared now. Because while these buffs can apply to just regular harmless creatures such as mud crabs, they also apply to strong creatures like lurkers or seekers and also bosses as well. So you'll definitely have a harder time approaching combat if you just go in swinging with just an iron sword. This next mod though is for people that prefer a stealth playthrough when you play Skyrim if you prefer overpowered, but this mod is called Shadow Opportunist. With this mod installed, when you're about to be discovered by NPCs, your character will glow red, letting you know the spell has activated, and slowing down time for a maximum of 3 seconds. But you'll also move at normal speed, only the NPCs will move slowly. You can either have this mod just basically installed, or you can have it so the skill only activates once you have the perk unlocked from the skill tree, and it has patches for the major skill perk overhauls. The next mod up is called Sneak Behavior Extensions. With this mod installed, when you're sneaking, you can now press Shift, which is the default key. You can change it in the JSON config, but it will allow your character to go prone, in turn making your character harder to detect by 50% based on the mod page, but also making your character move slower. You can also press Shift, and depending on which direction you pick in, your character will dive forward, but if you're already prone and you press D or A by default, your character will start to roll. So if you're into stealth characters, this will be the perfect mod, because if you have high grass or something that makes it harder to detect based on darkness around your character, this mod takes full advantage of that with tall grass. But that was pretty much it for today, guys. Let me know what you thought about this selection of mods and what mod I probably should have included. But as of right now, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.